E-learning is absolutely everywhere these days. It's in our jobs, our schools. It promises this amazing, flexible way to learn anything. But if we're being honest, a lot of it is, well, it's just not very good, is it? So how do we fix it? The answer isn't about throwing more flashy tech at the problem. Nope. The secret is actually understanding how our brains are wired to learn in the first place. And that's exactly what we're going to dive into. We're living in this golden age of digital learning, right? The potential is just massive. We can create these rich, interactive experiences tailored to anyone. And yet, so often we just end up clicking through mind-numbing slides or getting totally lost in some confusing app. It's a real paradox. The tech is more powerful than ever, but the results, they just don't measure up. And that really is the million-dollar question. Or actually, the $100 billion question, because that's what companies spend every year on this stuff. We've all been there, right? Forced to sit through some mandatory online course that just feels like a complete waste of an afternoon. So what gives? Why is there this huge gap between the promise and the reality? I mean, just look at this. You can instantly feel the difference, can't you? On the left, everything's clear. It makes sense. On the right, it's just a jumbled mess. See, bad design isn't just ugly. It's actively fighting against your brain. It makes learning harder when it should be making it easier. Yes, we've all heard some version of this, haven't we? It comes from a good place, but it captures the core mistake perfectly. The focus is all on the tech, the games, the fun, the cutting edge, but it completely forgets about the most important person in the room, the learner. It's like assuming that if you just buy the fanciest new oven, you'll automatically become a great chef. It just doesn't work that way. So this brings us to a really powerful shift in thinking. Creating a lesson that actually works isn't some mysterious art form. It's a science. It's built on decades of research into how our minds actually process information. To build better learning, we don't have to guess. We just need to follow our brain's hidden rules. And the most important rule is all about something called cognitive load. Okay, stick with me here. Your working memory, the part of your brain doing the heavy lifting right now, is super limited. I love this analogy. It's like a kitchen countertop. If it's covered in junk you don't need, there's no space to actually cook the meal. Good teaching is all about keeping that countertop clean. So how do we know what keeps the countertop clean and what just adds clutter? Well, we don't have to guess. We can actually test it. This is where we move away from designing based on opinions and start using real evidence. And that, my friends, changes everything. And here's exactly how they do it. It's basically A/B testing for your brain. Researchers create two versions of a lesson. You've got the control group, which gets the standard lesson, then the treatment group gets a version with one specific thing changed. By comparing how the two groups do on a test, they can prove, with data, what actually helps people learn. Pretty clever, right? But you might be wondering, okay, so it's a little better, but is it a big deal? Well, that's where this thing called effect size comes in. It's just a fancy way of measuring the real-world impact. A large effect size means the change isn't just a tiny blip. It's a massive improvement in how well people learn. We're talking about real, game-changing results. All right, let's get to our first principle. And this one is a big one, because it completely busts a huge myth about engagement. We're always told to make learning fun, right? Add cool graphics, exciting stories, background music. But what does the science actually say? Well, the science says the exact opposite. Get this. Researchers took a lesson and added a bunch of extra, super interesting details, like a dramatic story about a golfer getting hit by lightning. They called them seductive details. And the result? The group that got all the interesting fluff actually did worse on the test. Why? It just cluttered up their mental countertop. And that brings us to our first ironclad rule, the coherence principle. It's so simple, yet so powerful. Get rid of everything. Every word, picture, or sound that doesn't directly help someone learn. If it's not essential, cut it. When it comes to learning, less really is more. Okay, on to principle number 2. This one is all about the incredible power you get when you combine words and pictures the right way. It's not just about having them on the same page, it's about making them work together. This is the perfect example. Just for a second, try to imagine understanding how a bicycle pump works by only reading a block of text. It's tough, right? Your brain is working overtime trying to build a picture in your head, but the moment you see the graphic with the words right there next to the parts, boom, it just clicks. Your brain can process both at the same time, and it's way more efficient. And of course, the data on this is crystal clear. Study after study shows that people who learn from words and relevant pictures together do way, way better than people who just get words alone. It's one of the most solid findings in all of learning science. So this is the multimedia principle. It sounds kind of obvious, but you'd be shocked how often it gets ignored. The key word here, though, is relevant. We're talking about graphics that actually explain something, not just pretty decorative clip art that violates our first rule about coherence. All right, our third and final principle might just be the most surprising one of all. It's not about what you show, it's about how you say it. It turns out that your tone of voice, it matters. A lot. Just listen to the difference here. First, the formal version. For each planet, a plant will be designed. It's so dry, so impersonal. Now, the personalized version, you are about to start a journey. Your mission is to learn. See that? It's a simple change, but it completely reframes the experience. Suddenly, it's not a lecture, it's a conversation. And the result of that tiny change in tone? It's absolutely astonishing. It produced an effect size of 1.55. That is a monumental leap in learning. Why? Because when you use a conversational tone, you make the brain feel like it's talking to a person, not a machine. And we instinctively try harder to understand a partner. And there it is, the personalization principle. Talking like a real human isn't dumbing it down. It's a scientifically proven way to get the brain ready for some serious learning. It sends a little social cue that says, hey, we're in this together, and not makes us engage on a much deeper level. So there you have it. We've busted a few myths and uncovered 3 incredibly powerful science-packed principles. And this isn't just interesting theory, this is a practical toolkit that you can start using right now. Let's boil it all down into a super simple checklist. Number 1, the coherence principle. Is it coherent? Cut the fluff. Get rid of anything that isn't absolutely essential. Number 2, the multimedia principle. Are the words and pictures working together? Make them a team. And number 3, the personalization principle. Does it sound human? Talk to me like a person, not a textbook. Because at the end of the day, that's the bottom line. Effective learning isn't about the latest trend or the flashiest technology. The real magic happens when you stop focusing on the gadget and start designing for the amazing, complex, and predictable way our brains are actually wired to learn. So I'll leave you with this question. Now that you know these rules, how are you going to see things differently? The next time you have to take an online course or even build a PowerPoint deck, you'll be able to spot the science at work. You'll know the difference between what just looks good and what truly works.